Hello everyone, Rahul here. So today we are going to deal with the second part of the fifth chapter, that is mother and child. Last time we have discussed mainly about the child. So today we are going to deal with the aspects related to mother and what interventions government has made and what needs to be made. So let's move ahead. Now first of all, coming to the state of maternal health. Now, a child's first 1,000 days, that is approximately 2.5 or 3 years on earth, are thought to be a very essential period or very critical period for its physical, that is bodily, or cognitive, that is intelligence or brain's development, and it has long term consequences for child's future. A child's life chances during this period is ultimately dependent upon his mother. Obviously, if a child is healthier in the pregnancy or is given right kind of diet or right kind of interventions are made, right kind of tablets like deworming tablets are given, so he will be having a healthier future. Okay, but it has we have also seen that the reasons for death of the child in the first month of the birth, that is just after the birth, the first month is different from that to the of the next 11 months. Now the first month, when the child dies in the first month, it is called neonatal mortality. Okay, and neonatal mortality rate is the number of infants that die in the first 30 days of life. Okay, and it is an important indicator of in utero nutrition. This means nutrition in the womb when the child is developing, or when a cell, which is a zygote, is getting converted into a complete infant, passing through the stages of fetus, taking approximately 9 months. So in this time we have to take a lot of precautions, or mother has to take a lot of precautions. What should she eat, how much she should exercise, what kind of atmosphere she has, all things are important here. So India's NNMR, that is neonatal mortality rate fall, has not been proportional to its economic development. What does mean? This means is the countries which have achieved this much high economic development as India has achieved now, their NNMR, that is neonatal mortality rate, is much lesser than India's. That is, less children below 1 month of age die there. So in India, 70% of total death of infants is due to neonatal mortality or within first month, and it is mainly due to low birth weight of the child. Okay, now what value we use to define underweight? Here I should tell you that low birth weight is also due to the low gain of weight by the mother during pregnancy. So now what do you understand by the underweight? A woman is considered to be underweight if her body mass index or weight in kilograms divided by square of the height in meters is less than 18.5. This means body mass index. Have you heard of body mass index, BMI? We generally use BMI is mass upon height squared. Mass is in kilograms, height is in meter square. So kilogram per meter square. Now if it is below 18.5 for mother, that is, the mother is underweight. Okay, normal BMI is 18.5 to 24.9. So this is the optimum weight or optimum mass upon height square ratio which a mother should have, and above 24.9, that is from 25 to 29.9, it is overweight. Okay, and above 30 or above is obesity, that we call obesity, motapa. Okay, so the babies with low birth weight are more prone to dying in the first few days of life. As I've already told you, the 70% of total death of infants are in the first month. It is due to low birth weight. And women who begin pregnancy too thin, that is, they have too less of a weight, or during pregnancy they don't gain so much of a weight, they are far likely to have very less weight babies when their babies are born, which die in the first month itself or within the first few days itself, because the woman has not been nourished properly. So what a woman should do during pregnancy so that these kind of problems won't happen? First of all, a woman should have iron and folic acid tablets during pregnancy, and she should do light exercises. Also, when a woman takes folic acid is a one type of B vitamin. When she takes folic acid, it avoids neural tube effects. Our spinal cord is in the form of flexibility, that it is very flexible, it can turn, so we can turn also. But in the neural tube defect, there is a deformity in the spinal cord that the child is not able to reach appropriate development or appropriate height. It's his body posture is bent forward or sideways, so it is not perfectly normal. But not only that, if there is deficiency of vitamin B, it leads to miscarriage, preterm birth, that is before 9 months a child is born, or high BP, or preeclampsia. Preeclampsia is hypertension or fluid retention in pregnancy, that that a mother feels fluffy and her tissues get filled with fluid. And also a child can suffer from autism when we don't give vitamin, or the mother doesn't take vitamin B9. Actually, B9 is folic acid. So a woman should also use organic foods, because it has been told that if there are high pesticides in the food of the mother, it leads to low IQ in kids. Similarly, a woman should be de-stressed during pregnancy, because stress is the cause of 80% of our health problems. Similarly, women who enters pregnancy should not also be overweight, that is above BMI 25, because it has much high risk of prenatal or birth complications, and then a cesarean section will be required. And a child born will not be healthy, he will be suffering from allergies, asthma and obesity. Okay, allergies, asthma and obesity. So let's move ahead. Now before telling you that, economic survey says that 42.2% of Indian women are underweight, UW. Okay, and these are those women which are pregnant, and normally too 35% women are underweight. Okay, they are anemic too, low iron. So now moving ahead, so what it tells is that pregnant women are much more likely to be underweight than normal women. Obviously, you see a 7.2% rise in underweightness when a woman is pregnant. So now not only that Indian women are too thin, that is they are very low weight, but they also don't gain enough weight during pregnancy so that they can compensate for their pre-pregnancy less body mass. Women in India gain only 7 kilograms during pregnancy, only 7 kilograms, when the average weight gain as defined by WHO is 12.5 to 18 kilogram. See what a huge difference is. At least 5.5 kg in the from the minimum limit. Okay. So let's move ahead. Now this is the graph between the pregnancy weight gain of the different countries. Now what do we infer from this graph? We infer from this graph is that lighter women generally gain more weight during pregnancy. See here, 40 kgs. A woman is 40 kgs on an average. It gains more than 8. That is from 8 to 14 kgs you can take. This is the window. But as the weight increases, weight gain of the mother has been decreasing. See here. When a mother is between 45 to 50 kg, she gains 8 to 10 kgs. You're seeing that? Approximately 10 kgs, 8 to 10 kgs. But when a mother is 60 or above, she is gaining only 5 to 8 kgs or 3 to 8 kgs, which is very low, which can later bring very difficult consequences for the child or the life of the child. So despite recent progress, Indian women have relatively low pre-pregnancy weights compared to other countries. So as the government will intervene more and more by bringing out various programs which will provide better nutrition counseling to the mother, we will see a much more weight gain during pregnancy of the mothers. So let's move ahead. Now this graph shows the initial weight and during pregnancy weight gain across three wealth terciles, which is plotted against the number of months pregnant. Number of months pregnant is in x-axis and the three terciles, I will just tell you what do you mean by that. Three terciles is in y-axis. Now this is, here it is weight gain or different terciles. Now what do you mean by tercile? A tercile is the any of the 2 points that divides a distribution into 3 parts, each containing 1/3 of a population. So here what we do is we divide the mothers or pregnant mothers into 3 categories based on the economic class. One is the highest class. Okay, so it will be having the top 1/3 of population or Indian population if I talk about here. Then the middle, it will have medium 1/3, and then we have lower. It will have lowest 1/3 of the population. Okay, so women from rich households, it has been seen that start pregnancy heavier and but do not gain much more weight during pregnancy. Okay, now you see here, this is the blue one is the wealthiest 1/3 of population women. Here it is intermediate and here it is lowest. So this here you see that the richest woman, richest 1/3 population women start from 47-48 kgs on an average and go till approximately 56 kgs, 55 kgs. Okay, similarly women in the middle category also gains 5-6 kgs, and women in the lower category is having much less weight, 42 kgs, and is gaining approximately 5 kgs. So what do we find? Though the initial body weight or pre-pregnancy body weight of the mother is more for the rich, but the weight gain during pregnancy, that is as the months increase, is approximately similar for all the classes of women in our society. Okay, so what does it suggest? This suggests that the resources are at least part of the reason for pre-pregnancy weights. Obviously rich women are having more weight during the initiation of pregnancy. Okay, so let's move ahead to the next slide. Now, social norms. Now, this is the very important point. Social norms. What do we find is that in our Indian society, the woman is accorded a very low status, especially in joint families, and this low status affects her mind as well as her health. She eats at the last. She has to do a lot of hard work doing household chores. So what we find is that they gave birth to underweight children. Okay, but it is not so in the case of older women. The point to note is that younger women are giving birth to low weight children, but older women are not. Now also, what the data tells is that 40% of young women are underweight, while only 25% of middle aged men are underweight. So this clearly shows the gender bias in our society. So moving on to the next point, what does it say? That children of younger brothers in joint family households are more likely to be born underweight than their children of old brother. This is because a younger brother's wife have a lower status in the joint families, and these kind of traditions are continuing in the rural areas till today. So let's move ahead to the next slide. Now, improving maternal health in India. What initiatives the government have taken? Given that the maternal health casts a long shadow on the individual's mental development as well as the life chances or health, investing in maternal health should be a top policy priority for the any government. Now, the government has enacted National Food Security Act in 2013, which has among many provisions, one of the provision which grants cash entitlement to the pregnant women of at least 6,000 rupees. And if this 6,000 rupees are utilized by the pregnant women to improve their nutrition, obviously by the very consequence, the child birth, during childbirth, he will be having more weight, or women will gain more weight during pregnancy. So if this initiative fructifies, woman gets high quality food and breast, obviously more birth weight and health and human capital. Health means a child will be born fit and fine and will live long, and human capital means he will study much better and he will earn much more. Okay, now the first problem, this nutrition problem, this is not only of the rural area. It affects both rural as well as urban women, and also middle class women and poor women. So you can say all types of women suffer from the bad nutrition in India. Okay, so this cash transfers, that is cash transfer 6,000 rupees, if it is not used in nutrition and rest, then it goes down the drain. The IMR doesn't improve. NNMR, neonatal mortality rate rises, and many more children dying during the first month of their life. So what should we do? We need to couple this with the education. That is, we should teach mothers that they should have the optimum weight gains, and what initiatives they should take, or what things they should do to have their optimum weight during pregnancy. And we should also tell them why weight gain is important. We should tell them that if you do not do this, your child can suffer from this disease, this disability, this mental imbalance, etc., etc. Okay, so let's move ahead. Before moving ahead, what we are trying to say through cash transfer, improving the nutrition, and mental health of the child. Is it doable? So let's see how. Now cash transfer. How cash transfer should be given? Cash transfer should be in a single lump sum payment. That is, we should not let a mother wait for the cash transfers to come, so that delays are avoided, because the time is very crucial. 9 months are very crucial. So no delay should be tolerated for this scheme. So if we give just before the start of the pregnancy, what can be better than that? So we should also reduce our administrative cost. We can do direct benefit transfer to the mothers. We should also ensure that it is possible for household to spend the money on better food. That is, food should be available nearby. The family should support the going to be mother by providing healthy food, and the money should not be spent on any other member but the pregnant mother. Now also, the question of doability of this thing can be addressed by this recent conditional cash transfer study. Now in this study, women were provided cash transfer of rupees 250 at the end of every month during their pregnancy, and we took the easy to monitor aspects such as attendance at village, health, sanitation, nutrition days, and weight gain during pregnancy, and the children were monitored. What they found is the significant increase in the treatment value of the mothers. That is, if they are ill, they directly rush to the doctor. That is, 30% more women rush to the doctor. The second change it was observed of this 250 rupees transfer is behavioral patterns, more breastfeeding and corrective treatment during diarrhea. That is 4.4 or 5% more women tilted towards breastfeeding and corrective treatment during diarrhea. But it is not as much as the treatment thing. Okay. So let's move ahead. Externalities. Now, what do you mean by externality? First of all, externality is the cost or benefit that affects a party which did not choose to incur that cost or benefit. I will give you one example. Suppose an IT company is there. It opens at a place. After its opening, lot of people come and reside nearby. So, housing society develops there. Also, market develops here. Here, a cigarette khoka owner also sets up his small shop. So, all these people are getting advantages with the help of this IT company. But IT company didn't think that it is going to provide the advantage. It comes as the externalities or external effects or consequences of the steps taken by the IT company for its own profit, but other people get the profits because of the circumstances and the people moving in. Okay. Similarly, we talk here about the disease externality. Now, USA of older times was like the developing countries of today's time. So it was found that children benefited from the hookworm treatment or proper sanitation, were more learned in the schools, that they learned much more in school, and also they had much more income in the future. Okay. Also, what do you mean by disease externalities? That is, if we don't take care of the mother's health, there can be many externalities which can cause diseases. For example, if drinking water is not clean, it can cause various waterborne diseases like cholera, etc. Then we should have proper sanitation. If the sanitation is not proper, it can cause many diseases. For example, if a small bee sits on some dung or waste or excreta and then sits on your food because you have not sanitized your home, it will lead to diseased condition in you. Other thing is air pollution. When somebody sets up factories, etc., we have air pollution. Or Delhi women which are pregnant will be much more affected with air pollution than the women of the village, which is an open area and has much better air quality. Next thing is, the biggest problem in India is the open defecation, that people pee outside, and because of this they face enteric infection that I just told you about the bees. Okay, so this is one of the biggest problem in India. Now in India, one significant and internationally unique source of early life disease is open defecation, and this happens mostly in the rural areas of India, which is much more. That is approximately 68% of India is rural. Now see the grave problem of the open defecation in India. In India, of the rural open defecation, this is the 2015 data, we see 61% of the total population defecates in the open. So it is much more common in India than even in much poorer countries. Suppose Afghanistan, see here, only 17%, not only is in comparison to India, 17% people defecate in the open, though they have much less PPP GDP as compared to us. Similarly, India has the largest rural open defecation rate in South Asia. Bangladesh has approximately fully eliminated open defecation, and Bangladesh GDP per capita is so low than India, approximately 500-600 less than India, and it has eliminated the open defecation. You can also consider that Bangladeshi people are actually our own people, in a sense that we were living together, not much before. 70 years before, we were a single country. And see how much stride Bangladesh has made in an effort to remove the open defecation menace. Now, according to World Health Organization and UNICEF Joint Monitoring Program estimates, 61% of rural Indians defecate in the open, as you see by the data, and only 32% of rural people in sub-Saharan Africa defecate in the open. Now, sub-Saharan Africa is the poorest among the world's nations. Even they defecate, only 32% of their population defecates on the open, and rest use private toilets. But see the condition in India, it is more, approximately double to that of the sub-Saharan Africa's problem. And even sanitation laggards like Kenya, where the defecation rate is much lesser than India, 15% open defecation. Afghanistan, 17% open defecation, which is much lesser than India. So it is a open shame for India throughout the world. So let's move ahead. Now, even many people have working latrine in houses where some of their members go and defecate, but still some other people or other members of the same household defecate in the open. So this has to have something sociological in reasoning. Now, latrine pit emptying, which is routine in other countries, is substantially complicated by the rural India's history of untouchability, that is, work of disposing human feces is associated with social exclusion and oppression. Now, the toilets of the kind given by or proposed by the WHO were needed to be emptied every few years. That is, the defecation will be going on for few years and then it will get filled and then emptied. But in India, the thing is like that, to oppress the lower caste, untouchables. What they do is, every day the higher caste defecates in the open, so that the lower caste should be made to carry this defecated or feces from one place and dumped to some other place. These are called bhangi in Hindi, bhangi, or what to say. These people face worst form of discrimination in the village or rural society. Okay, they're all they can also be called like manual scavengers. Now, what the other environmental or health effects the open defecation cause? Obviously, when the defecation will be in open, the bees will spread the diseases. The rainfall will lead to dissolution of the feces into the water, and this water enters the fields, enters the rivers, pollutes the rivers. Drinking water is contaminated, and many other diseased organisms can grow nearby. Many microbes which are very deadly can grow. So the child suffers from diarrhea, that is the food is not able to be absorbed properly, and it is like loose motions, huge loss of water is there. And also environmental enteropathy. Wherever entero is used, this means intestine, and pathy means diseases. So environmental enteropathy is inflammatory response of the intestine to repeated exposure to germs spreaded by open defecations. So it reduces the ability of child's intestine to absorb the food or nutrition whatever is provided to the child. Okay. And now India has another unique problem of very huge population, and this leads to much more commingling or adjacent placement of people, or regular interaction in various other places, public places, and hence transfer of germs from one place to another. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Now, what does this slide talk about? It shows the graph between the the average child height for age and the fraction of village that defecates in open. I will tell you that here not a single person defecates in the open in the village, but as we move ahead, 20% defecate in the open, 40%, 60%, 80%, and 100% people defecate in the open in villages. Now, average child height for age. This graph shows average child height for age. Now, this essentially shows stunting. So, what does it shows? It shows that the red dotted line is the people who use their own private toilets. What do we see? We have much lesser stunting as compared to this blue line where people defecate in the open. Now, as we move ahead, more and more people defecate in the open. Here, see. Here, 50% of the people defecate in the open. We have much more stunting of the children which are born in this place, and more stunting when more and more people defecate in the open in the villages. So, more percentage defecation, that is more population defecating in the open, more will be the child stunting. Sharpest falls in height for age is when the village household completely defecate in the open, that 100% all the people in the village defecate in the open, will have huge stunting. Okay. Then private toilet defecation households will have higher height for age scores than household who openly defecate, and it is independent of the village defecation level. That is, there are two households. One household defecates in the open, other defecates in private. The people defecating in the private will have the children born which will be much taller for their age as compared to the people which are defecating openly. So how do we address open defecation? Let's move ahead. Prime Minister has started a Swachh Bharat mission, where it is a information dissemination campaign where this problem is raised regarding open defecation and what are its disadvantages in the society, and also there is commitment to end the practice of open defecation quickly. Now, in the last year itself, 80 lakh toilets were installed in the villages under this program. Also, UN's Sustainable Development Goals, which will be evaluated in 2030, has committed to end open defecation worldwide by 2030. So, our goal, that whether India will achieve the goal or not, essentially depends upon the rural areas performance. Historically, OD, open defecation decline in India has been 1% due to the various initiatives of the government. Now, to fulfill the sustainable development goal of ending open defecation worldwide by 2030, India has essentially had to eliminate the open defecation at a rate of 3% every year continuously for 15 years. That is from 2015-16 to 2030. Every year at least 3% defecation problem should be open defecation problems should be removed. So the behavioral change is the most important thing which can turn tides towards the government in removing this evil practice, or not evil, this unsanitary or bad practice. Now, a study in Madhya Pradesh has shown the increase in latrine use with education and information provided to the rural people. Now, what other high return investments can the government make? Government can make the early life interventions, but there are some hurdles. First of the hurdle is that how do government initiate behavioral change? This leads to be done by information dissemination, education, telling the various diseases which can be caused if you don't do that. Also, we should break the deeply entrenched norms that woman is inferior, that the lower caste should be exploited. These norms should be broken from time to time by various ad campaigns, etc. So the government has also done some early life interventions like providing food to the pregnant mothers under National Food Security Act, also addressing open defecation via Swachh Bharat mission. And now, if these high impact interventions are done during pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, postnatal, that is after the birth of the child, if these things are followed, what we find is a significant improvement in the maternal and early life health of the child. Now, folic acid supplementation should be pre-pregnancy, that is even before conception it should start. During pregnancy, calcium and protein should be high in diet. Pre-pregnancy, salt should be there also with along with folic acid. Postnatal, during the first 6 months, there should be encouragement to breastfeeding because it reduces neonatal and postnatal mortality. Now, salt iodization leads to more height, that is less stunting. If we give in the postnatal period vitamin A supplementation, reduces infant mortality. If we give zinc supplementation and diarrhea treatment, this also reduces because the nutrition will be provided to child. Similarly, deworming tablet. Now, what do these worms or parasites do? Parasites eat the food which is available for the child. So, the child gets malnourished and hence stunted and wasted, which can be prevented by this deworming tablets like albendazole tablet is there, which is a deworming tablet. So, let's move ahead. Sorry. Now, what results we have found from government action? First of all, it has raised exclusively breastfed children during the first 6 months of child. See here. In India, previously, that is during 2005-6, we have blue. 46% of the mothers were breastfeeding their children. This has now increased to 65%. I think this 20% rise. The percentage has increased by 20%. The lower states have gained more. See here, Haryana. Only 70% breastfed children were there in the 2005-6. But now in 2013-14 it has reached to 54%. So where weak states have improved more. So this has been possible due to the Nani Suraksha Yojana, which has been started by the Women's and Child Ministry, and also ICDS scheme, Anganwadi programs, which takes care of mother as well as child. Now the proportion of breastfeeding mothers is now 62%. Obviously, I just showed you largest improvement in the worst states, and the percentage has increased to 65% as given in the economic survey. So now what does the government has to play a role in the breaking the some social norms which has been problematic for the mother and the child? First of all, persuading the rich to give up subsidies. This will obviously help the poor mother as well as child. Also, reducing social prejudices against girls. Obviously, I told you recently, a young women are discriminated against, and hence low childbirth weight. So when this discrimination is ended, women will eat properly and will give birth to healthy child. Similarly, educating people about the health externalities of defecating in the open. So many programs have been followed, and many ad campaigns on DD News etc. have been run by the government to tell them about the disadvantages and problems faced due to open defecation. And citizens should be encouraged to keep the public places clean, obviously, for better health of the citizens. So government needs to focus on changing norms progressively, and also government has been doing a great work in bringing behavioral change through various programs. What is now required is a gentle push by creating a unit in the government which keeps evaluating the performance and keeps pushing the officers involved in these tasks so that the government's agenda can be fulfilled. So thank you everyone. Please like, comment and subscribe to www.decipheris.com. Please like our Facebook page, and congrats for India's entry into the semi-finals of the World